The 90s. A time when dial-up internet was a novelty, the Macarena was a dance craze, and Blockbuster Video was the place to be on a Friday night. It was the golden age of movies and video games, and for two young dudes named Jose and Kyle, it was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. Welcome to the Blockbuster Dudes podcast, where nostalgia reigns supreme and the popcorn never runs out.
Bienvenido. Once again, it is I, El Durorino, accompanied always with
his dudeness, his hetero life mate.
Very true. Now, tonight's episode of the Blockbuster Dudes is it's a heartfelt one.
It is. It's
because
very current time topical too.
It is, and it's one of those it's just one of those the evolution as time goes by, things change, all things must come to an end. And by that I'm talking about the fact that I think we actually might be near the end of physical media, Kyle. Yes.
It definitely feels like we've hit the end of that road.
I know. And you know what brings this up?
I got a tear.
No, I feel, look, I got a flutter. And not a good one. I have to take a nitro pill. But, all joking aside, it's, I went into my local Best Buy about a week and a half ago and saw something that just, I knew it was coming. You'd heard it in social media circles that Best Buy was, Best Buy and other vendors were going to be toning back how much physical media as far as movies. They had already cut back audio years ago. You couldn't find a CD. Now you can find vinyl for some reason now, but you can find a CD, a couple of years ago. But they were tinkering with the idea of cutting back on physical media as far as movies and TV. Well, a week and a half ago, I walk in, and when you walk into a Best Buy, you have this. They have this little mobile, not an awning, but like an end cap, like it's a mobile end cap that has all the new releases for the week, whatnot. And then you go back to the back corner where they have more new releases, but then their standard stuff, Disney, Marvel movies, whatever, horror sections, anything like that. Well, we can have to go walk in to find that the new release bin was still there. The new release fixture, that's what we were. The new release fixture was there. Still said new release in big gold letters, right?
Right.
With not a damn thing on it. No, not the racks were there, empty, bone dry. No title cards, nothing. Empty.
Just empty.
Empty. And so I was like, I was in shock, but I was like, no, they're just moving stuff. They're just getting ready to do it was something. I was trying to, make myself believe that it wasn't the time yet. So I marched my happy butt back to the movie section to see that it also was bare. The racks were there. The categories were there. The movies weren't, Kyle. The movies.
Wait, hold on. You are talking reality, right? Because it sounds like a horror movie right now.
I know. It'd be like Randy from Scream walking in and seeing all this stuff is gone.
Right.
Okay. Except it wasn't a movie, Kyle. It wasn't even a bad B or C horror movie. It was real. There were no DVDs, no Blu-rays, no box sets, no movies, no TV series. Gone. Right now, it looks like the area is going to be reclaimed with bargain-priced televisions, flat screens, and they now, how they now sell toys and these little things you would find at a comic book store, right? Just add-ons for youngsters. It's kind of an expansion of their video game section. They sell video game media. They still have the physical media for gaming, but anything that is movie or TV related, as far as TV show, not physical TVs, obviously, is gone. And like I said, it's not like we didn't know it was coming.
Too, isn't it?
Yeah, music is gone. The only thing you might find at Walmart, you may find vinyl, because vinyl is obviously has been retro. It's made a comeback, but as far as actual CDs and stuff, no, that's pretty much gone. Now I haven't.
Everything's slowly disappearing, and sadly, video games are probably next.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Xbox One and PlayStation 5 and Switch all having options to buy it digitally and just
Digital.
download it, or you get the little licensing that just makes sure that you have a license for it.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those. It's silly. We knew it was eventually coming. Now, like I said, that's Best Buy. I just recently went to a Target and they still have physical media, but I'm gonna admit is down to like one new release cap and then
Mhm.
one row
That's
or
it.
one aisle, and that's it.
Yeah. What
Um,
used to dominate the shelves at all these retailers is
yeah,
disappearing, like, or has disappeared in a lot of cases.
yeah.
We really have reached the end of that line, and
It's
I,
scary. I mean, scary is not the right word. I mean, we're not trying to be unrealistic, as we're talking about movies, but
I
still,
think
it's
it's a
just one
little
of those.
bittersweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the 8 track going the way the dodo when happened. Cassettes going, video, audio cassettes going the way the dodo. CDs lasted a long time, but eventually they went out. They gave way to
Yeah,
iTunes, Napster, stream
Napster,
any kind of streaming.
really, dude.
Well, let's say, look,
Napster. You just did
hey
a
man,
Napster reference. Oh my god.
Rhapsody. A little bit, but whatever audio, wherever you get your audio from,
Yeah,
Spotify now, Amazon Music, wherever Apple Music, wherever you get it from. Point is, the way of physical media has definitely is down, and
sure.
when a major Best Buy, that was a major retailer for that media for movie. So the fact that they're
It was
done
one of the
with it,
primary ones, at least in
yeah,
our area, and throughout the tenure of this time, we were actively just purchasing and building, our video libraries, if you will. Um, it was definitely a large part of that, and I think,
oh yeah,
kind of like you said, everything kind of hits the end of that line and runs its course and eventually fades away. But I think, like I was saying, it's bittersweet because it hits on multiple levels. I mean, one, end of an era, but two, it's
hmm
also, there's still, and I know you can relate to this as someone who's been a collector. You know what I
hmm
mean? That having that physical copy in your hand, that's what made your collection. It's a lot. It's different to have a digital collection as
hmm
opposed to a physical one, and that physical collection has always been a large part of it. Having, since we're talking specifically a lot more specifically about movies and TV and stuff,
hmm
having that video library, that
yeah,
physical
exactly.
video library was always a thing, and you know to know that that's not going to exist like that now is pretty, like I said, it's very bittersweet. It's
Yeah,
it changes the outlook on everything.
I mean, especially for and this. I'm not trying to be funny, but the first thing that came to mind when I saw all this stuff was gone from Best Buy was an image of an empty Blockbuster because the irony is this: streaming is ultimately streaming is what killed Blockbuster in the first place.
Right.
Okay, so the
And
fact
now
that
it's
now
taken down the
streaming,
retailer side.
yeah, you took down the big rental retailer. We were sell through and rental, but still, point is, Blockbuster as a way to get a movie without purchasing it, just to rent it per se.
Mhm.
Streaming, ultimately
Knocked
killed
that
it.
out, and now
And
it's knocking
now,
out the physical media.
exactly, and now streaming is going the next step and not just taking out the vendor, but taking
Taking
out
out the
the
retailer.
physical media.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, that's what the thing is. Like, as soon as I saw that section empty like that, the first thing that came to mind was seeing an empty Blockbuster. Seeing a store actually just passed by one today in my area in Noonan. We were passing on 34 coming home. We had just gone to Noonan to hang out a little bit, and the Noonan Blockbuster, the building is still there, and it is still empty, vacant, unoccupied. And on the top of the building, on the front, you still see the outline of the Blockbuster ticket, of the Blockbuster logo ticket, right?
For the sign. You're right.
For the sign, exactly. And it was like, that's the image I got when I went to Best Buy and saw that the movie section was done and complete. Was literally a Blockbuster empty, where you could still see the shadow, the imprint of the sign on the structure of the building.
Oh yeah.
um and like you said, bittersweet, because look, we, as technology changes, yes, the need for physical media has did dwindle. I'm not going to say it didn't, but still, for collectors, whether it's cars, whether it's games, whether it's comics, there's something about having that physical copy,
Something
whether you want to
tangible in your
look
hand, man.
something tangible, exactly. Like you want to show your man cave or your studio or whatever you have, you want to show your collection off. It's like you have your own library of whatever it is,
Mhm.
you know, to show off. And
Right.
like now, I mean, there's probably pros and cons to it. It's just one of those, like I said, it's very reminiscent of when Blockbuster finally, for the most part, except for the one in Bend, Oregon, Kyle. Except for
Yeah.
that one. I always look. The funny thing about it is, for some reason, I always keep saying Denver, Colorado, when it's Bend, Oregon. Is it? Wait a minute. The show,
Yeah.
the Blockbuster Netflix show, was it in Colorado? Is that where I'm getting it from?
That I don't remember actually. I'm
Okay, because
sorry.
for some reason Denver, Colorado keeps popping in my head when I'm hearing Last Blockbuster when it's Bend, Oregon. So that's just it's just so I'm trying to make sure I'm saying it right, Bend, Oregon. But but no, like I said, except for that one still being in existence, it's just a bittersweet reminder of how that part of my life ended in 2014 when Blockbuster closed most of its 99.99% of its doors, right?
Mhm.
And this happened now. I was like, damn. And we've had conversations about this before, like, is this a detriment or not? There's going to be pros and cons, but I mean, what are your thoughts, bro? As I'm telling you this story, what are your
Well,
thoughts?
well, like you said, there's pros and cons. It's bittersweet to me, and the reason I say that is because the bitterness side of it is there is that collector in me. I always wanted to have that huge physical library. It was always funny when people would come over to the house and say it's like, damn, you have a Blockbuster right in your own home. Yeah, I did essentially. I had a little bit of everything. That goes back to just VHS tapes, and then as we transition to DVDs and Blu-ray, etc., I've always had that physical library. Now, with that said, because of the amount of space that takes up, I'm the part that's of me that's happy about it is it's a lot easier to contain and store. And while I don't have the giant physical representation of that, I can still access all of it digitally and say, here it is. So, like I said, I can see both sides of it, but
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I didn't say there's not that collector inside of me that's just going,
Damn it.
right?
Yeah.
Or to know that there's not going to be anybody to experience that like that really again, where they're
Oh
going to
yeah.
come down, you know,
Uh,
and walk into where my library is and look at the shelves and, you know,
mhm.
a la Randall and Clerks when he goes to Big Top Video and he gets down on his knees and, paying
Oh,
homage at the altar of video, if you will.
for
Yeah,
real. And
that's
every
not
new
going
release Tuesday, even Best Buy, it was still every Tuesday was your street day for movies.
yes.
That's done.
And it is really in a sense because I don't have to go to a store now to get something on a
True.
Tuesday, because you
That is
always
true.
wanted to get it that release day, got to go get it, even whether it was
Mhm.
rental or if you were purchasing something like you said, you're going to your local Best Buy. If I wanted to go to
Yeah.
Best Buy or whatever and get the newest release, well, it's not going to be there anymore.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, it doesn't exist now, not like that.
and that's the thing is, there's weird pros and cons about it because you're 100% right. I'm not gonna look. There's my wife will kill me if she hears me admit this. There is no telling how much space can be reclaimed by not having the physical media. I mean,
I
how
won't
much?
tell
I
her
think,
if you won't.
huh? You want to tell us?
I won't
Okay,
tell her if you won't.
I love that's my boy. But no, all joking aside, there is, like you said, storage space, and there is something else we talked about before we got on tonight. The idea of, to your point, you made a point earlier that I have to make sure it gets put on here, which is when media changes. We had VHS,
Mhm.
then we had DVD, battling HD DVD, and then
Right.
eventually Blu-ray,
Mhm.
and then 4K Blu-ray, right? And what would happen to us collectors? We would feel like we are.
What?
It's not a quiz. What would if a true collector? If every time media change, what do we have to do?
Oh, we have to buy another copy.
Yeah, because
I,
it wasn't just buying. It was just buying another copy. Because oftentimes when they changed media, they would add something, whether it was special commentary, whether it was deleted scenes, whether it was this or that.
Right.
They would at least add something. But at the end of the day,
I was
the
about
biggest
to bring
ad,
that up.
the biggest ad was the updated visual of the movie, because they, when they went to DVD, they did a lot of cleaning from the VHS transfer. But then when they went to Blu-ray, it added, with that HD and the 120 hertz refresh rate, all that stuff, it made it look like it was like a freaking soap opera quality, like so you weren't just getting the extras, you were also getting a better version.
Quality.
Like with the 120.
That's not something I generally hear.
Well, no, like
you're quality are not something you generally hear thrown together in the same.
But I'm talking about like the quality of the I'm talking about like the motion of the film. Like, for example, when they introduced 120 hertz refresh rates on TVs, it gave it the movement of like a soap opera, where it looked like you were happening in 60 frames per second instead of the 24 frames in a movie. Typically, it looked like it was happening like for real, and which for some people that was a distraction. It's like it looks too realistic. Like I'm like I can't separate it into a movie. And that's why I say soap opera, because most soap operas are filmed where they have like a realistic look to the way that they're shot.
Yeah.
So because of the frame rate and all that stuff. But that's to explain the soap opera comment. That's what I meant by it.
I got you.
But dude, I can't tell you how many versions of the original John Carpenter's Halloween I own. Because even on
that is exactly the movie I was going to bring up and say, how many copies of Halloween do you have? I say, look, I'm nowhere near the fan you are.
I can't answer that question.
Right. Okay. I'm just saying is, look, I'm nowhere near the fan as you are of that. And I know that I lost count of how many copies I have. I can't even fathom how many you have.
How many copies on just VHS? Because you have the original. Check it out. You have the original VHS release, which is the original pumpkin with the knife, right? Okay. Then you have like the Blockbuster. Even Blockbuster had its own special release where it was a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis with Michael in the background, like outside one of the houses, and it said Blockbuster on the side, on the spine, like Blockbuster version or Blockbuster special, whatever it was. And then you had the 2-disc edition, you had the orange edition, you had the white edition for like his mask.
The orange edition, was that the 30th or 35th anniversary or something like that?
30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, no. That's the by that point it was DVD.
The VHS tapes were orange.
Yeah, the VHS. You're correct.
It was a 2-tape set, and they were orange.
I think that was 20th anniversary.
Was that 20th?
Because it was 1978. So 1998 would have been. It was 1998 was that's it. It was a 20th anniversary because it was 2 orange tapes, but it was in a blackout big double box that was plastic and opened up. So it was a 20th. It was a 20th anniversary edition. And the only reason I know that because the 35th anniversary edition I got on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what anniversary. I knew it was an anniversary edition. Couldn't remember.
But it was 20 years.
I may or may not have just seen that recently. Just don't
seen the movie or seen that like that cassette.
Those cassettes.
Don't play with my emotions. Do you still have it?
No.
Okay.
I don't still have it.
Okay. So like, man,
if there was something I could have given you, I promise you I would have. How's that?
Making sure. That's my boy. I was making sure. But that is exactly a perfect example. There's no telling how many. Sin City. Granted, when it first came out, it was a Blu-ray release, but then you had like special re-release upon re-release upon re-release. Sin
City was originally released on DVD, man.
Was it DVD?
Yeah.
See, I can't remember. I can't. But for Blu-ray transfer, it was like
Blu-ray hadn't really come in that hard yet. I don't
think you're right.
I don't.
But you see what I'm saying?
I don't know. I'm old, man.
But here, let's stay with Halloween, and the reason is because it's easy to track. So we know Halloween was definitely VHS, Laserdisc.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and people are like, "What's a Laserdisc?" So imagine vinyl, but as a big CD, like a big compact disc, but it was a big vinyl, but it was a metal disc, not vinyl. And it was a movie.
Do you remember the original disc versions of stuff they had? This was before they went digital media like that. They were just called. I had one. It was just called a disc player, and they were the size of like vinyl records, right?
Laser discs.
Listen to me. There was no Laserdisc. This does not look like This is before the Laserdisc stuff came out.
Oh,
Okay,
good Lord. Okay.
this is old school VHS days. All right,
Like before
I,
VHS beta.
yes, it was around the same time of the VHS and beta days.
Okay.
All right, there was a thing called, it was just called a disc player. They were hard plastic cases about the size of a vinyl record, and you would slide it in and watch whatever first part of the movie is. You'd have to put it in, flip it over, and put it in again to watch the second half of the movie. All right.
Wait, not unlike a floppy disk almost. It was like, but not square. It was kind of like the
it was more
material of a
square.
floppy.
It was more square. It was not floppy at all.
Okay.
Like it was in a hard case. Right. Now it would pull part of it out. That's how it played it inside the machine.
Yeah.
But like I was so young, I never actually pulled one out.
It sounds like a mini. It sounds like the Sony mini disc before it was a mini disc.
Because it definitely wasn't mini.
That sounds like what you're describing.
But like I only had like we only had like a few movies like that.
It was short lived. It had to be.
Very short lived. We had stuff like the Dirty Dozen, Stripes, Race for Your Life, Charlie Brown, Conan the Barbarian. Like we had, mostly me and my dad were watching stuff at that time. But it definitely existed, and Halloween, I'm sure, existed on that one as well.
Oh yeah, but I was saying, but that's why I use Halloween, because Halloween has been around so long, and it's been still a relevant film for so long that it has not just stood the test of time, but it's actually transitioned. I mean, let's count: VHS, the disc you're talking about, laser disc, DVD, HD DVD. Then they even had one that failed called DivX.
I was gonna say that was the original. That was the original competition with DVD. It was originally split when those were first coming out.
That's right.
Forgot about
then you had Blu-ray. DivX is now a format that you can play, but it's not a physical media. It's a software format. Blu-ray, 4K. So you have, at least, if I'm thinking, and this isn't how many versions of it. This is just how many media formats it existed on. This isn't even including 20th, 30th anniversary, 35th, 4K. You know, just straight up formats that it
exists on.
Exactly. You're looking at 8 different media formats that it's presented on, not including stream. Actually, no. I guess we need to include streaming, truly digital format. So streaming, again, not including the different versions. So Halloween is an example of home video release that spanned 9 different format changes. So, and I'm only going back to starting in VHS or Betamax, or one of the, because I think it was Betamax was first, and then became what was eventually VHS.
No, it was very similar to the DVD DivX thing. They ran at the same time.
Okay. So, but still, like, it's on both.
Beta died and VHS won, just like DivX died and DVD won.
Yeah, Betamax kind of almost like it was almost like an 8-track, but almost like an 8-track version for a movie.
No, they were.
I'm trying to remember.
Almost identical to VHS tapes. They were just smaller.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, but no, man. Like I said, it's just crazy. You know, like I said, with Halloween being, I think, a good prime example, being in 9 formats, and then within those 9 formats, how many different releases and re-releases. I mean, hell, on VHS, I can think of at least 4 versions: an original, Blockbuster exclusive for whatever reason, and then the 20th anniversary that was orange, and there was a one that was white for his mask. So I mean, just on VHS, that's 4 right there on VHS alone, before DVD was even a thing. So
and again, this is just the stuff that we can think of and remember right now. I mean, there's probably stuff we don't. Speaking of which, anybody, if you can think of any other formats that we missed, or
please,
if you want to list any other variations and stuff like that, comment below, please. But yeah, like I said, they're going back to what originally got us down this line is, as collectors, we always have to get the newest and greatest version there is. Hey, they found one deleted scene. It's 5 seconds from this one scene that you already have,
but it's different, damn it.
And we'd have to go buy it. And you're absolutely right. It is different. But that's, again, that was the collector side of us, talking about that and thinking about it. And, we can still do that digitally, but it just doesn't have that same feel to it. You know what I mean? It's not that same connection.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I can't tell you how many times where I found something, it's this my digital version, and it's just like I'm not gonna lie. If I had to go look for the physical media, it would take me 20 minutes or 30 minutes to find it.
Right.
Whereas with digital, it's just alphabetical, boom, there it is.
Mm.
And whether you have all the different ones, Disney Plus, Prime Video, all that stuff. But the only thing that I have, we also talked about this offline, which I would bring up here, is with digital. Yes, it looks great. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of convenience with it. You could even do it on your phone, obviously, wherever you go.
Mhm.
But there's one thing that bugs me, or kind of two things. They're kind of offshoots of each other. The only thing is with digital, with all the licensing issues that occur with it.
Right.
I know that there's times, especially with movies I bought many, many years ago on digital, or when they started doing the DVD plus digital code, or DVD, Blu-ray, and digital code.
Right.
There's times where I know I have one on digital and I can't find it. And it looks like I don't. It looks like I never bought it. It looks like I don't own it. And I'm like, no, I had it. And then I pull my physical copy, and I'm like, yeah, here's the code. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, I used it, whatnot. And so I don't know if that has anything to do with maybe certain licensing. Because, like, here's a question: let's say I bought something on digital 5 years ago, hypothetical,
Mhm.
whatever. Now, as we know, a movie was originally released by, let's say, Orion Pictures or the Canon Group. We
Mhm.
know that the Canon Group doesn't exist anymore. Orion just recently has been resurrected. Awesomeness. But there was a time when both these companies didn't exist anymore, but their movies were still pushed. You still see Bloodsport, you still see Cyborg, you still see Masters of the Universe. And the thing is, other movie companies buy their licenses, to buy their copyright and everything, right? And the rights to it.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if some of the issues with digital, where hey, I know I had this, but I can't find it now, is because it changed companies, and when they changed companies, like the rights reverted to somebody or someone bought the rights. If somehow there's a way for them to reclaim that digital, which shouldn't be, especially if you paid, like especially if you bought the digital directly off of a digital vendor like Disney Plus or iTunes. For me, once you bought it, just like a physical media. If
Right.
they can somehow reclaim it out of your collection, that's BS. But I know I haven't seen it. If anybody else has kind of noticed that, same thing. Comment, let me know here,
And if you're
and
gonna
that
do
leads
that,
to my
please be so kind as to give me my money back, please. That's
for
all I'm
real,
saying.
exactly, because that would infuriate the hell out of me.
Full refunds.
For real. Now here's the other one, and this one I know happens, and this is why this would be one of the cons against getting rid of the physical media.
Okay.
Uh, the most recent example of this: Adventures in Babysitting. So Adventures in Babysitting, was that a Fox movie originally? I don't remember. But either way,
Yes.
Disney. Okay, so Disney now owns that. It is now on
I think
Disney
it was
Plus.
Fox. Fox touched on one of those.
Yeah. But Disney now owns it, and it's on Disney Plus. Now, Kyle, this is for the most part is a PG. It's a PG-13 movie. Okay,
Mhm.
but even PG-13 movies were allowed to have like one or two f bombs or stuff like that, right?
Right.
So you remember the infamous scene in this movie where Elizabeth Shue is babysitting people. Spoiler alert ahead of time. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But actually, no, because this doesn't exist anymore. So no, I guess it's not a spoiler alert anymore. So check it out.
It does exist, just
It,
not on Disney
that's
Plus.
right, but not now. So this is the here's what I'm getting at. It's the infamous scene where they're on the subway. You know where I'm getting at.
Oh,
And
I
these
do.
two
I know
rival
exactly
gangs.
what it is.
Yeah, you have the babysitter with the kids she's babysitting, and
I
then
know it
two
well.
rival street gang. I know you do. I'm explaining for the audience. Start coming in here. They have them cornered. They are now in the middle of two gangs. Um, and she's like, "Can you please not kill each other until we get off?" And the Spanish rival gang member goes, "Shut up!" Or he either said, "Shut up" or "Sit down, bitch."
Hmm.
Disney changed it to "witch."
Yep.
Then
But wait, there's
there's
more.
more. There's more. Same person takes out a switchblade, throws it, and hits the kid that likes the kid that has a
Brad.
crush on her. Yeah, in the foot. So he's got a knife wound to the foot, right? And he says, "You don't fool with the lords of death." And then she takes it, and, threatens him with it. And she's like, "And you don't fool with the babysitter." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" We're talking about blatant like Galaxy Quest, Sigourney Weaver's like, "Screw that." But what she really said was,
Well, that's
Okay,
because
you
they
know what I'm
did
talking
multiple
about.
takes on that.
No,
That
exactly. Yeah.
actually what, yeah. But
No, Galaxy Quest was
that one
different
hasn't
because
been changed. Galaxy Quest hasn't been
exactly
changed, but
it was
Adventures
an
in
editing
Babysitting was
decision.
changed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, with Galaxy Quest, it was an editing thing, but with Adventures of Babysitting, it was released with different dialogue and was
Hmm.
later edited. Now, odds are that is probably it's not so much that Disney edited it. I think that what that is actually remember they had the made for TV version
Right.
that they would do like don't with fool
Right.
with me or
Right.
oh you just fouled up now whatever. So
Edited
I
for
think
content
Disney
and stuff for television. Yeah. No, I
exactly.
got you.
So I think that Disney basically used bits and pieces of the TV one, whatever. But here's what confuses me: because they bought Fox, and I'm putting Deadpool on this one,
Yeah.
because they bought Fox and incorporated the X-Men Fox movies, Logan, Deadpool, which we know
Mhm.
Logan and Deadpool f bombs galore, right?
Sure.
Disney Plus instituted where you had to sign in with a password to watch
Hmm.
R-rated movies,
Right.
right? Or movies that had that language.
Hmm.
And the thing is, Disney even included a lot of their historical ones like Pinocchio, Dumbo, for obvious reasons of by today's standards. But still, it's like they put them behind that veil of having to log in as a parent.
Well, there's that, but
Um,
they also put up disclaimers on a lot of
yeah,
them saying that
no,
this is
exactly. But I'm like, Adventures of Babysitting, really? It only had
well,
those two words, really?
right, but I don't have a problem with the disclaimers and stuff. That's fine.
Oh
To
no,
me,
the
that
disclaimers are
doesn't detract
fine.
from the movie or the experience. But
But I'm saying when they
when
actually
you're
changed the movie.
yeah, when you're actually changing dialogue and you're actually changing the sequences and scenes of a movie, then it like you were just saying, I don't. If I wanted to watch the edited content version for television, I would have just watched it on television. But
On
if I'm watching
TBS,
something that I
exactly.
paid for, I want the full unedited, you version of the
Yeah,
film. I don't want this to be augmented for television in a way for me, like you were pointing out, is very negative. I don't feel the need or the necessity to make those changes there.
yeah. I mean, it'd be like that'd be like paying good money to download the special edition of Pulp Fiction, where they've cleaned up every one of Samuel Jackson's F and
F
MF.
bombs.
Yes, it's just not the same. I mean, hell,
Nope.
another example is even not just changing for language sake, which I get why. It's just like you said, if I'm watching it on TV, I'm expecting it, but if it's something I'm paying for,
Hmm.
like Netflix, whether it's Netflix, Disney Plus, it's kind of like, hold up, don't be changing what I'm expecting to see. But it'd be like, or like Aliens, get away from her, you witch.
Hmm.
That's not gonna fly. I'm sorry, man. Don't mess with James
No.
Cameron's Aliens. But in an
No.
example where it's not about language, you, Kyle,
Me?
yes, at least I think you still have
Me?
it. The original Star Wars New Hope VHS release before THX remastering, before all that stuff, where there is a flying shoe as a TIE fighter somewhere in the
Thought that
in
was
the
Return of the Jedi, but yeah.
was it Return of the Jedi? Okay, well, but still
But it's
you
same
still
same
have the
concept, same
same
ideas.
concept exactly.
The original releases of those have there's so many. And for those of you that need to see them, download it on or not download it, but go watch it on YouTube. You
Exactly.
can definitely see it and check it out. There's so many things you can find, especially in older movies, where the movie magic, if you will, is they have to use what they have to use, whether it
Yeah.
was running short of models for a massive starship sequence in Star Wars, or if it
You're putting
was just
Star Wars, you mean?
huh?
Star
What?
Wars, you mean? You said
Star
something else.
I said Star Wars.
Okay, it sounded like something else for a second. Sorry. Just
I don't
keep
even
going.
want to know where your mind was.
If that's
Anyway,
not where my mind,
either
I
that
look.
or
It's FedEx
any
hearing.
editing snafus and stuff that they
Yeah,
had back in the day, stuff that got missed and slipped through. I mean, that was just a part of it. But you
yeah.
can find tons of that stuff if you look for it. It's
Or like
pretty.
Han
Some of it's
firing first.
hilarious. What's
Just
that?
saying. Han firing first.
Oh, that's a complete change in edit. That's a whole different thing to
But
me.
but I'm still saying like even if it's the fact of the matter is having a physical media of the original release where
Yeah.
you can show, hey, no, that's not what it was. It was this. There's a reason why Han Solo was a badass, and this is part of it. It's not the only reason, but it was part of it. He was a
Right.
space pirate. He acted like it. Dang it. But but like I said, that's just some of those things about streaming is pros versus cons of physical media going away. Like I said, I don't know long term. I don't know what I'll be happier with. And I'm not gonna lie. Look, my digital library is bigger than I will ever want to admit because the same issue we talked about earlier. Well, no, think about it. For the same issue we talked about earlier, where they released a special edition of a movie that's maybe. I mean, there's some movies that they never released on DVD that they've released on direct to digital.
Yeah.
That just for the cleanup of the movie was worth $4 and
Sure.
$4. Now, granted, that's another thing too. With some of these digital versions, it's been maybe $4.99, $6.99, $9.99 instead of the $24.99. Disney, thank you for buying MCU. Good lord. Marvel movies before Disney bought them were the average price 14, especially release day, like $14.99 special release day sale, and then they would go up to like maybe $19.99. Oh no, Disney, everything was 24 to $30 for the regular versions of stuff. It's
You
like
would not be
anyway.
trying to imply that a company was going to price gouge you for the, help compensate themselves for an extensive purchase, are you?
Oh, not ever.
Okay, just checking.
Just no, I'm just no. That's just a misunderstanding, Kyle. I
Oh,
would never
sure.
imply that. But no, I will say with some of the digital versions, the cost has at least been a good steal. Like there's times where I'll find old school movies, 80s, 90s movies, like with honors. I found for $4.99.
Yeah.
They're like a whole slew of My Cousin Vinny. There was like a Joe Pesci thing where like My Cousin Vinny with honors, Goodfellas were like $4.99, $6.99. So I didn't feel bad about rebuying those, especially on digital where they're cleaned up and whatnot. And they have commentary
Yeah.
and stuff that I didn't have before because I didn't have to pay $20 for it,
Sure.
But even still, it's the same issue we talked about earlier is that as media change, you have to rebuy your collection. I've already done that on digital. So it's like at least this time, there's some benefit to that, but it's still like, I don't know. Part of me will always miss the ability
It's a
of
change,
being
man.
able
It's
to
different.
show it.
Yeah.
You know,
I just having that physical, tangible, piece in front of you is a vastly different experience than looking at a screen at something. To
agreed.
see a digital notebook paper saying, "Hey, I have this movie." No, look at this collection right here. The walls of shelves that I have.
Oh, exactly. Oh, gosh. But there's a good question here. So everybody watching this, put in the comments because here's an interesting question, and maybe for even me and you to kind of mull over, and this could be something we come back to. We're talking about physical media versus digital, whatnot. But that begs the question because there are movies that never had, like I said, that never had a DVD release. Movies that at least had a DVD release, they went through an extensive cleaning procedure to clean it and upgrade the videos as best as it could because it wasn't shot in HD, right? But they were able to, over time, put it in HD. Think of examples of movies from the past one. It didn't have to be 80s or 70s, 90s, 70s, just any movies that never made it outside of VHS that you would love to have on an HD, whether it's digital or whatever, but like an high def, fully sanitized, cleaned up, beautiful version that never made it outside of VHS. So just what movie that you didn't see since then that you would love to see now, digitized, clean, and all that, or even TV series, even hell. With me, there's that werewolf TV series from the 80s that I loved. Okay, that I was mad because Shout Factory actually got the rights to put it on DVD. I special ordered it through Best Buy back in the day. And literally the weekend before it was supposed to come out, I went in to make sure it was going to come out that Tuesday, right? So it released Tuesday. And I received the news a la Good Burger style that they received, actually, no, it's different. They didn't receive instructions to field destroy them. They received instructions to send them back. So they had to actually, to be all accounted for. Now, the difference was, whereas with Good Burger, from that, from our initial episode, with Good Burger, they had put trailers that were inappropriate for the ages, so they had to field destroy it, and that was it.
Yeah.
With this one, the reason they had to send them back was because in the pilot episode, which would be, the TV movie, whatever, there was a song on the pilot episode. I don't know the name of the song, so I don't know which song it is. I don't know what artist they're talking about. But somewhere in the opening of the show, there was an important scene where this song was playing in the background. Now you have to understand, back then, movies could be shot two ways as far as audio is concerned. You can shoot it where you're shooting on film and you have a separate audio track on a separate audio device being recorded. Or they actually did have film that the audio was recorded onto the same film strip on the sides. Okay. Um, Apparently, that show, the pilot, was filmed with the audio embedded in the same film. So what ended up happening was apparently there was a rights issue with two artists that were on that song, and they were asking for an exorbitant amount of money for 40 seconds of playtime on this thing. So like, well, we'll just cut it out. Well, you can't. Well, they're like, just change the audio. You can't. It's embedded. Well, can we cut the scene out? No, they can't, because it was a very important scene that actually kind of laid down the Bible of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't cut the scene. You can't change the audio. They ended up not being able to release it. I was flabbergasted, pissed off. You can find it today because people have basically recorded it off TV and done like their own cleaning ish here, but it'd be like a VHS transfer. Some would look real good, but they don't look. You're not going to get like a what DVD or Blu-ray brought to it. For me, that would be an example of one that I wish will get a full on re-release treatment. What ticks me off is it did have it because the copies did exist, because it had to be sent back to distribution. So anybody who might have an actual copy that someone didn't send back, help a brother out. Just saying.
Well, there you go.
Help a fellow Blockbuster dude out. But no, in the comments, give an example of a movie or TV show that you would like to see get that treatment that never did it.
I have two.
Go for it.
The movie, while technically has a digital transfer that you can purchase and watch because we've done it, but it's something that I really wish they would really spend the time, have a full digital cleanup of it, and then maybe add in some extras, and that's the movie Fortress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not the Christopher Lambert futuristic.
No,
prison
not Christopher
movie.
Lambert. We're talking.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
the Outback Australian movie.
Oh yes, and then for a TV series, it was something I don't know why there's nothing miraculous about it. You're not watching the most sensational thing ever or anything like that, but it was just something I always enjoyed when it was actually on TV. It was an HBO show, and then it had, I think, season 1 and season 2 were kind of combined release, but then nothing else was ever released.
Can I guess?
Go.
I got 2 guesses.
Okay, go.
Dream On.
That's the one. Got it in one, bro.
Because I remember they released. You're right. It had multiple seasons, like more than 2.
Season 1 and 2. That was it. And like season 1 was relatively a short season at the time because it was just trying to catch on. But that's the only thing. It was at Anchor Bay, I think, had gotten the rights to it at the time, and they never did anything else with any other seasons. It never got a digital release that I'm aware of.
I think there was like at least 4 to 6 seasons too, right?
Yep.
I mean, it was not a 2-season show. It had more than 2 seasons. Correct. But I always wondered about that because they released it to DVD and then that was it. Those first 2 seasons as a one-time thing, and that was it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure if you were going to say that because I couldn't. There was another show, HBO show, that I thought was hilarious. Okay. Right. But I don't think it ever got the digital treatment, even DVD, like even a DVD disc release. I don't think it ever got.
Okay.
Not necessarily the news. Which was a news parody. Everything was brought to you. Even the commercials were parodies of what you would see between news stories, right? But like it was just an entire parody. Imagine Saturday Night Live where it was only news parodies.
Well,
I thought it was funny.
There was another show from back in the 80s on HBO, in the old days of HBO, that it did get a digital release. It wasn't anything special though. And if they ever wanted to do some special stuff with it, it'd be hard with one of the cast members being that he just died. But HBO's First and 10.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Football show.
I remember
O.J. Simpson was on it. As I said,
I remember that.
No longer on this earth, so he could not be involved with anything with that. But there's several other members of that were on there. including some little things like was it Donald Gibb was on there who played Ogre in the Revenge of the Nerds movies, and you had
which he's going to be here in October, Days of the Dead.
And
Days
here's
of the Dead
another one.
afterwards, like a Revenge of the Nerds thing.
I love you for the segue, sir. So here you go. And the other person is the kicker on that team was John Kaiser, who was the voice of the Crypt Keeper.
Yes.
So
yes. Tales from the Crypt, I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
But like we said,
that's another one I wish I could get some more in-depth digital behind-the-scenes stuff and or stories, commentary, and stuff like that.
Oh man,
I think it would be some fun stuff out of that.
But you really hit something with Dream On, because that show, that HBO show, for when the show was actually on and currently being produced at the time, like you had so many celebrities guest star in that show. Right. I mean, a crap ton of celebrities guest starred in that show. For the fact that show only got the release that it got is kind of surprising. So I would love to see that release of that show. But like we said, we're coming to the end here. We would love to hear what shows or movies that you want to see on digital that have never gotten it, and also your take on physical media versus digital media. We'd love to hear your comments. Shoot them over to us that we can talk about them some more. And before we do go, I need to bring up a certain word that's bugging me, Kyle. It starts with an S, and we're getting good views, but it's a different number when we look at something else. What word am I talking about?
Let's see. All of you right now, if you haven't done so, and if you have, do it again, just because. Hit that subscribe button right there. Yep.
Do it.
Hit that like button too, because it all helps. We want to know that we appreciate you. Please let us know that you appreciate what we're giving you. And
exactly.
like he said in the comments, man, sound off. Let us know if there's anything else you want to talk about, anything else you want to bring up to the topics we cover.
Exactly.
Love to hear it.
And when we hit a good significant number, I'll get Kyle to do an entire episode in his Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
That's not going to happen.
If we don't get a high number, you wouldn't do that at least for 5 minutes of an episode, like straight 5 minutes to do the entire episode. Thank you for being on the Blockbuster Dudes podcast. I can't do it well. That's why you have to do it.
Oh man, don't
do it.
No,
not now. Come on.
All right, I'll make a deal.
What?
Let's make it a good big number. Hey, in the comments, y'all determine what you feel that number should be. If we get there, I'll do it. Fair?
Okay. Guys, just do it. Go do it right there. Subscribe on the right button, on the correct button, not that button. That's a graphic on the right button. You know what I'm talking about. It's over here. As always.
There. That click it. Click it now.
Do it. Do it now. Run to the chopper.
I can't give that away.
I have to do it because he won't do it yet. So if you want me to do it, it's gonna sound like crap. That's all I'm gonna say. But as always, make it a blockbuster night.
Wow. What a difference.